You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense.
Hello, or as they say down here, bloop, and welcome to a very special edition of Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast for everyone of all ages from bloop to bloop. As I have joined forces, yes, I know it's the one you've all been waiting for, with the Comedy Club for Squid's Radu Ninsan show to deliver a very special underwater intro and outro to the podcast. Many of you put ink to paper, not in writing, obviously. I just received some really soggy paper covered in squid ink, but I knew that you were trying to say, do a crossover show with the team of Billy the Squid, Senna Todd, Becky Cuttlefish and Colossal Susan, hosts of the popular underwater show for tentacled creatures of all ages from bloop to bloop. So, here I am, deep under the sea. It's a bit cold, it's very dark, it's very watery, and it's quite annoying as I forgot to bring spare pants for when I get back out. But that is okay, because Becky, Todd, Billy and Susan, it is great to be with you here in your sea bedroom where you record. Great! I have no idea what that means, but please stop squirting ink in my eyes. It's really uncomfortable. And hey team, what's that funny smell, right? Has someone seaweed in here? Yeah, no, that's fair. Any questions that you want to ask me as a landlubber, as one of them human beings? Have any of your listeners sent in things that they would like to ask me? No, don't. That's not me. I wouldn't put any straws in the ocean. I definitely don't do that, I promise. I mean, not only is it polluting and awful, but also what's the point? You've got water right there, so you can just drink it by opening your mouth. You don't need straws. Any others? Where are my other 4 legs? Yeah, good question. I think I might have left them in the car. Not sure. Favourite sea creature? Oh, sure. Yeah, it's whales. It's always whales. I love whales. All whales, really, but particularly the big blue whales. And it's because they're so massive, but they also always make noises like they're really sad, don't they? Like, oh. And I was thinking, why are you so sad? You're massive. Like, oh, no hats ever fit me. It's very sad. So anyway, I like whales. I think they're brilliant. Okay, right, let me ask you some questions from our listeners. Comedy Club for Squids, would you wear a shoe on each tentacle or a glove? Yeah, I suppose that was quite an insensitive question, wasn't it, really? Do you ever camouflage just to hide from your mum when she's angry? Yeah, I knew it, and I'm very jealous. Okay, and do you all play the drums? Because you could totally hit 8 drums at once, and in cartoons it's always squids that play the drums. Oh, sorry, yeah, it's not squids, is it? I mean, it's octopuses, octopi, sausage rolls, whatever it is, that are playing drums, isn't it? It's not squids. I hadn't realised that they were completely different things. I'm very sorry if that offended you. It's just that you're all in the sea, and you all have the lots of tentacles things, so I just sort of thought it's basically the same, right, aren't you? Is that not how it... Okay, look, I think we're having some communication problems, and I may have upset them as they've all swum away. I wasn't trying to be rude, I just didn't really know. Look, I'll swim after them in a minute and try to apologise, but first, listeners to the show, thank you for sending in even more questions. If you have things you really need to ask or want to send in, then please get your adult decapodiforms, sorry, wrong podcast audience, grown-ups, to help you email us at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk, and I'll find a comedian to answer it as soon as possible. And don't forget, we have real-life actual theatre shows returning very soon, so do check out comedyclub4kids.co.uk and see when we're near you. That's see when we're near you. We're not in a sea near you. But if we're not actually near you on land either, then get in touch and let us know what theatres or events we should annoy to make sure that we can do a show near you. And No, we really don't have any shows in the ocean, so I'm sorry about that. Or at a beach, or in an aquarium. So if you are a water-based creature, you'll have to watch it via streaming services. And now for the bloopiest bit. I am joined on today's show, very excitingly, by Tim Fitzhigham, aka Tim, who definitely knows how to swim. Tim, the only person to ever successfully teach a horse a whole new language. And, of course, what all of you listeners will know Tim for, he is the holder of the record for most apples bobbed in under 12 minutes. Tim, it's lovely to have you here.
Wow, I think you should have had a fanfare in between those. Just, let's do them again. Maybe let's, what have I got? I can blow a fanfare on. I'm going to blow it on a teapot.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, definitely. Okay.
So you do the accolades, and I'll blow the fanfares.
That sounds brilliant.
So go for it. Let's do this. Let's see if this works.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast, Tim, aka Tim, who definitely knows how to swim. Tim, the only person ever to successfully teach a horse a whole new language. And of course, what Tim Fitzhigham is most famous for, the holder of the record for most apples bobbed in under 12 minutes. Oh no. What happened in the end there? The teapot ran out of steam.
I think it did, yeah.
Oh, that was very good though.
At the end.
Is that, can I ask, do you play that around the house? Do you, the teapot, or?
I do, I do. What I do is I put on music, and then I improvise jazz trumpet on the teapot over the top of it. That's what I've been doing a lot of in the last year. I've been getting quite good at, what can I play? The Spanish Flea. Etc.
It's wonderful. I should just point out for listeners, what they can't see is that Tim has a small. Is it a tin? It's a tin kettle, isn't it? Is it
it's
tin?
a teapot.
Oh, sorry, tin teapot. Is it a tin teapot? Or is it?
It is a metal teapot. Yeah, you're right. It's a little metal teapot.
So it's a little metal teapot, and also Tim's face went extremely red while doing that. But it was quite an incredible sight, and it's made me very sad. This is just an audio podcast because they will miss that. But that was some beautiful playing, Tim.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely out there now as a teapot trumpeter.
Yes, I should have. Do I have to add that to your accolades as well?
Well, I mean, you shouldn't you?
I should. Okay.
I mean, we didn't know, did we?
We didn't know. Do you want to add? Should I do it and then you add a fanfare for it?
Oh, I'll try. Hang on.
Tim Fitzhigham, the incredible teapot trumpeter. There you go. That's good. If I'd known about that before, I'd have put it in originally. But obviously, this is a new thing.
Now I'm going to have a cup of tea afterwards as well. That's nice.
That's amazing. Have you ever got confused and made like some tea, but then tried to use it as a trumpet and then accidentally covered yourself in tea?
No, it's really good at that point because it sounds really funny. So the I wonder if we can do. Can I do? It sounds a bit like. Which sounds really like you're playing like classical music, but you're not. You're just playing a teapot with some tea in it.
Yeah, or like you're some underwater musician.
Or you're an underwater musician. That's really good. A stealth underwater musician. That's a brilliant thing.
Especially as one of your other accolades was that you definitely know how to swim. I mean, I feel like this is another future. I feel like already we're just discovering more and more things you can do before we've even started the podcast.
I do know how to swim, I do know how to swim.
I know you definitely know how to swim, yeah.
I learned to swim very, very early in my life, and I was quite good at swimming, weirdly. You've picked a good one. And I had a German swimming coach who had a voice like this, and he used to speak a lot like this in the swimming pool. And I was quite naturally good at swimming, and he used to shout a lot from the side of the pool, and he used to go, "This boy, he swims like a fish. He does not know what he is doing. No, put your hand in the water. Not now. Take it out of the water. Put it back in the water." And I'd be going, "What is the water? What is the water?" And you're going, "Silence, swim, breathe. This boy, he swims like a fish, but he does not know what he is doing." etc.
Wow.
It went on and on and
But
on.
you
Yeah,
see, I'd also think, because if you swim like a fish, like that's a good. Fish are brilliant at swimming. If anything, I'd say that's probably the
I
things
thought
they're
that.
best at. And fish
I
don't
thought that.
really know what they're doing because they're so naturally. Like, I don't think a fish consciously thinks, "Oh, I better flap my fins to get anywhere." They swim. They don't think about what they're doing because they swim so naturally, you know. And so, if anything, that's a compliment, isn't it?
I thought that. I was like, that's like saying, he's such a good horse. He's like a horse. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's the
yeah,
weirdest thing to say, isn't it? He's so good at something. He's as good as the thing that's really good at it.
yeah.
It doesn't work. It's like weird thing to say.
I do also.
This boy swims like a fish.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very strange thing. I also like that the thing you chose to compare it to there was like he's so good at being a horse, he's like a horse. I suppose horses are best at being horses. I mean,
Nobody, unless of course you ask a horse. I guess if you went to a horse like, "Are you the best at being a horse?" The horse would go, "Nay."
well, that's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Ba-dum.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Well, also I like to
It's
think
a horse language joke.
I also like to think horse is probably quite humble about this. You know, I don't feel like
Yeah.
a horse would take all the credit for being the best horse. I don't.
No, well, I
If
mean,
anything,
I
it's because
did,
they're quite shyer horses.
they are quite shy of horses. Yeah, they are. Good evening. Good evening. Tiernan is just literally, we've made horses the main event. The main event.
This is brilliant. We'd better stop before this episode becomes a nightmare.
There's a huge tale in this, I have to say. It's all very exciting. Hey, listen, jokes on the hoof. Jokes on the hoof.
Oh my goodness.
On
He's
the
back in the
hoof.
saddle.
Evening. Well, I mean, I do talk to horses, as you know. I taught my language once.
Yes, I
So they
wanted to
say.
talk to you about that. So you taught them and understand a whole new language. And was that because for horses, I'd have thought the only language they actually know is horse. So what was the new language that you taught them? Was it a new horse language, or was it a human language, or was it something else entirely?
Donkey.
Wow.
Yeah, I taught them donkey. Yeah. It was difficult for them because it's a much smaller language. So they had to really speak through their mouth, very tiny mouth, to speak the mouths of donkeys. The words of the donkeys much smaller.
Wow, that's
Difficult times.
But donkeys are much better at laughing than horses, so I'd hope that it sort of brings some real humour and light to
I
a
like to
horse's
think
life.
of donkeys as the comedians of the horse world. I like to think of them in the field going, "Hey, I've got a bit here. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to good evening. Hello, horses. Welcome to the paddock. It's me, the donkey. Hello." I reckon that's what they do. I think that's what
I
donkeys
also
are up
agree
to.
because donkeys, like horses, are quite sort of gallant and bold and sort of beautiful creatures, and donkeys always look a bit dishevelled and tired and a bit sort of I don't know, just unwashed, and I think that's definitely more comedian like than a horse.
Yeah, definitely. So you can see him in the corner of the field going, "Oh, I've got this really good bit. Hang on a minute. I'm going to do it. Go on, bring me on the stage. Get me on the stage." That's what they're doing. They're standing there going, "I've got 5 minutes. I've got 5 minutes on Clippity Clops. Get me on. Come on."
It's got to be hard for donkeys because they've also got the best. If they do the best jokes, but they've also got the best laughs. So are they the only ones laughing at their own jokes? Because that's quite sad.
Well, there are definitely comedians that do that.
That's true. That's also very true, isn't it? Yeah, that is very true. Wow. I mean, I can't believe you've done so much, Tim, already. And I was going to ask you how you've been, really, or how you're getting on in general. But obviously, you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been playing a teapot. I mean, that's taken some time. It's been quite a weird year, hasn't it? I feel like we're all trapped on board a ship. Collectively, we're all trapped in a ship. We've all been inside for a whole year, going. Let's learn how to play the teapot. Do you know what I did the other day? I started talking to the fridge by mistake.
Oh wow!
I bumped into the fridge and I said, "I'm really sorry." And I genuinely expected the fridge to say, "That's okay." And I was a bit shocked when it didn't answer back. And I was like, "Wow, I have been inside for a long time, a long time." How long have you been inside, Tim? Long enough that I've started talking to my own fridge. That's how long I've been inside. This is not going entirely well.
Wow,
and do you know what? It gave me a very chilly stare. The fridge.
That's what I was going to say. It gave you a very cold reception. Yeah.
Yeah, the cold shoulder.
Frosty
not
response.
Ideal.
Yeah. That's not good. But fridges are
icy conversation.
I feel like fridges are so important that I'd apologise to a fridge as well because they contain all the things that I want to eat. So I'd feel really sorry if I hurt a fridge or messed it up.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was pleased I still had manners. I was pleased that I'd still remembered my manners. Like if I bump into someone, you always go, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And obviously, I just have taken that to a new level of kitchen appliances. I'm like going, "I'm really sorry. I've apparently hurt a fridge. That's what I've done." Yeah, it's that's how long we've been inside.
It's been a
We've been
very long time,
inside
hasn't it?
such a long time.
I know, but
Yeah.
we can go outside now, and that's been perfect because the weather's been horrible and rainy and really cold, and and so it's just perfect weather for going outside and
Yeah, yes. It's
having a
like
terrible time.
literally the government sits round and goes, when can we let everybody out? And then the gods sit round, the gods of weather sit round and go, when are the government going to let them out? And then they go, there's the date, right? And now it will thunder and it will
And
lightning
there'll be
and it will
snow,
rain
yeah.
and there'd be snow and storms, in fact. And let's send some water so they'll have to wade through their gardens. Let's do this. Then and you've been looking forward to going out for so long, and you've been seeing the sunshine while you've been trapped inside. You've been looking out of your little peephole, porthole window, going, one day I'll get outside. And then you go outside and go, I don't want to be outside. It's really rainy and snowy and cold and wet. I want to go back inside again. And then you're going, but I've got to stay outside because I've been inside for so long. I've been apologizing to fridges. So
But I don't know if you do
difficult.
this as you're a dad as well, but I both me and my wife do the very mean thing as parents where we go, well, we must go for a walk, and then we drag our daughter out even though she's going, no, I want to stay in, I want to watch TV, and she knows the weather's horrible and cold, and we're like, we want to go for a walk, and then we drag her out, and then we're out going, this is horrible, why did we go for a walk? Now everyone's miserable. But I feel like it's something you have to say as a parent, that you have to go for walks even though they're very boring and cold.
I went out for a walk the other day, and the rain was so horizontal, so sideways, that only one half of my trousers got wet. That's how sideways that rain was.
That's amazing.
I got back and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before.
That's incredible. And that's a
Yeah.
hard, because luckily you were going home, and luckily you weren't able to go out, because if you turned up somewhere with just one wet leg, it does look like you've weed yourself.
Well, I looked like like the clowns of old with two coloured trousers on. 'Cause one half was like so wet that it had changed colour, and the other half was so dry that it was the colour of the trousers that I put on. So it was like, oh my goodness, I've invented clown trousers with the weather. This is incredible.
That's amazing. If you were going somewhere like really important, would you have thought about maybe putting your trousers on the wrong way round so that you could then get the other leg wet and then it would look like they matched?
Well, I thought I'd better, if I was doing that, what I would have done is I would have paced up and down for a bit, because then it
Yes.
would have like worked, because I would have turned around and paced and paced and
That's
paced and
smarter
paced,
than having to wear your
like
trousers on
turning up and
backwards.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, or upside down. Could have worn them upside down.
Also
Could have
true.
worn them as a hat, but then I would have been in
Yes.
my pants, which would have been a double disaster, because then I would have had pants that were wet on one side and trousers that were doubly wet on my head. It was just,
But
I didn't see it
you know
coming.
what? I think had you turned up somewhere with wet trousers on your head and in your pants, like, people would have been so distracted by one or the other that they wouldn't have noticed both, and therefore you'd have almost got away with it.
Do you think? I mean, if they said, how have you been, Tim? And I went, I've been talking to a fridge. And I had trousers on my head and wet pants. I think they would have gone, let's call the doctor. Let's get a doctor in quick.
Possibly. Yes, very possibly. That is true.
This man's got rain sickness. He's got the sickness of the rains.
And yeah, give it 6 months and everyone would be doing the same because it would become the new trend. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
waiting to happen.
that would happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to ask you now, obviously people can go outside and do all sorts of stuff now, and by the time they're listening to this, they can. But I wanted to know if you, and this is a tricky thing to ask because you've already told us about playing the teapot and lots of brilliant things, but I wondered if you had any other tips that you give our listeners about if you are just stuck indoors or stuck at home for a bit, any fun things that you can do.
Well, I've been turning almost everything into a game. So, like, if I have to do the hoovering, I've been like turning it into competitive hoovering. Like, how many bags can I fill up on the Hoover? Dun, 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 dun. How many bags can I fill up on the Hoover? And then if I'm doing the washing up, I'm like, how fast can I wash up the plates? Go! Quick, wash up the plates! Go, go, go! How quick can I wash up the plates? Anything is becoming a crazy game indoors because you know that's one way of getting through it. But now we can get outdoors. You can do all the fun stuff. Just get a tent. Go find a lake, a pond. Go find a wood. Go sleep under the stars. Do all that brilliant stuff that you love doing. Find a beach. Go and sleep on the beach. Go and make a sandcastle. Go and make a tree house. Go and live in a tree for a week. All sorts of fun things that you can do. Run up a mountain. Literally, take a fridge and run up a mountain. And then when you get to the top, you'll have some food to eat. And if you get stuck halfway up the mountain, you'll have someone to talk to. So it will all be fine. And you can do all those brilliant adventures that we all know and love, I would say. Now you can get outside. It's going to be like the Adventurers Club again. It'll be brilliant.
Oh, that is very exciting. I mean, that's a lot of stuff as well that you've recommended people do in quite a short. Is that all for one day to do all those things, or can they do it over a couple of days?
That's before lunchtime.
That's before lunchtime, yeah. But then I suppose you got the afternoon to relax after you've done the mountain and lived in a tree and everything.
Yeah, and then make a kite. That's
Yeah.
another thing to do in the afternoons. If it's windy, then make a kite. I think, because that's kind of fun too.
Yeah.
I've also got chickens. You know, I've got chickens.
Yes.
So I live with chickens, and they have been brilliant over the whole like year of lockdowns, because they love it. They love being cooped up. Chickens. That's one of the things about them.
He's off again. Look at him.
Just terrible, unbelievable chicken puns. They were very excited to hear I was coming on this podcast this morning. They said, "Oh, could you let us come on it, please?" And I said, "No,
wow.
chickens, no chickens. Go back to Mandalay." But the chickens have been brilliant, because they're like, they'll never stop talking. They chat the whole time. And there's three of the chickens, and they will chatterbox away. And they also give you lovely, yummy eggs to eat for your breakfast sometimes, which is really nice. And but they're a constant source of conversation. Because you'll go, "How you doing?" And they'll go, and you go, "Wow, that's amazing." And they go, and the other day I found them, and they'd been on a big adventure, and they literally were queuing up to go back into the hen house. And I was like, "Guys, what is the thing with the hen house? There's the great outdoors. There's the outside chickens.
Yeah,
Run,
you don't know what they've been up to. They could well have climbed up a mountain and lived in a tree and stuff. So
maybe that's it." And they were like, "We want to go back inside.
Make a kite. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. Do your chickens have names?
They do. Yeah, they do.
What are they?
Yeah, Layla, obviously, is one of them. Hermia, which is a very classical name for a hen, and my children named them. So I mean, it says a lot. One's called Layla, which is a brilliant joke. One is called Hermia, which is a very classical one, and the other chicken is weirdly called Barry. So,
that's a beautiful...
We all know who named that one. Yeah.
So
Layla, Hermia, and Barry.
That's Barry. Those are brilliant names. I really hope Barry the chicken lives up to her name in.
Yeah, that's right. I said, it's a girl, and the neighbour of the chicken, my beloved son, just went, yeah.
It makes it even better, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. There aren't enough girls called Barry, and in fact, if you're listening to this and you are a girl and your name isn't Barry, why not change it to Barry? Just
change it to Barry. Change it to Barry.
Yeah, more Barrys.
And he then came in one day and he went, "I've got a better name for the chicken." And I went, "Wow, okay, what's that?" And he went, "Barry 2.0, the new improved version of Barry."
Oh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Like, okay, quite a long name Barry's getting now. Amazing.
Yeah, well, also, I worry how you upgrade a chicken. Like, what did Barry have to do to become 2.0?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. They're brilliant at laying eggs. My chickens. They're really happy. Chickens lay eggs. That's the thing. Good. If they're happy and clucking around and having fun,
happy as Barry,
and that's right. Happy as Barry. That's it. And they're all very happy with their egg laying ways. And so they've been great. So I think if you've got animals as well, like in lockdown, that's another nice thing to happen. And now they can go outside. Animals. I mean, my chickens are outside, a fair bit of the time.
Yeah.
But if you've got, like, I don't know, dogs, they can go out for walks and stuff and all that kind of really nice things you can do in the time with the
Which
animals.
is,
It's
yeah,
good.
that's so much better.
All
Definitely.
the
So
horses. If you've got
get
horses,
chickens,
go
take your
talk to them.
chickens and your horses out for a walk. It's a really lovely idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or go watch some donkey stand up.
exactly. So much. There's just a world of possibilities.
Yeah.
World of
I
possibilities.
did once own a donkey, Tin, and I don't know if I told you about this.
No, you
I've had
didn't. No.
horses, but I also had a donkey, and I used to really like it. I used to ride it into market when I used to go and do the shopping. I used to ride the donkey into market, go do a bit of shopping, ride back home on the donkey. Yeah, it was a good life.
That's
Long time
amazing.
ago.
And did people? Well,
That's
yeah,
actually
long time.
true.
It sounds like
Weirdly,
hundreds of years ago. That's how long ago it
yes,
sounds. Yeah.
it was in the medieval period. I
Yes.
was quite young, and the Black Death was the best record out there. It was weird. No, it was genuinely. That weirdly is true. I did used to ride a donkey to market and back again every now
That
and again.
is genuinely amazing. And how were you greeted when you? Did people think you were some visitor from faraway lands, or how did it work?
No, I think they were all pretty happy with it. I
Oh,
mean,
it's the
there
donkey
used to
kid
be a
again.
policeman that was a little bit quizzical about it because I didn't. I used to park it everywhere, so I just used to stop outside the shop and then just tie it up to the lamppost and then go in and do the shopping. And the policeman was like out there writing a ticket, kind of going, "Hang on a minute, you can't park that donkey there." And I'd be like, "Well, I can because it's a donkey. It's just stopped, you know." And the policeman would be like, "No, that's a non-donkey parking zone." And I'd be like, "Well, where's the sign for this? You've got no parking cars, but you have not mentioned the donkey on the sign. So surely I should be allowed to do it."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, actually, that is a fair point." And then you can see him kind of going, "I'm going to make a new sign for a donkey. I'm going to get some crayons. I'm going to write donkey on that sign if it's the last thing I do." So yeah, there was a comedy policeman that used to think I couldn't park my donkey anywhere.
That's
But
brilliant. But
he
it's
sort of,
such a good point because if there isn't something on the sign, then how are you meant to know that you can't do
that's
that
right.
there? Like there's all the
Yeah.
signs that say like no cars or no bikes or whatever. But if you're riding a donkey or perhaps a very large dog, if you had like a St. Bernard or something, you decide to ride it into town, or an
Yeah.
alligator or whatever, there's nothing. There isn't a
Yeah.
sign that says no alligators. So
I've not seen one. I haven't
no,
seen one. I didn't see no alligator sign.
yeah.
And so I thought I was fine with the donkey. And yeah, we used to go to town, have a lovely old time. Yeah,
That
it
is
was nice.
amazing. Well, honestly, I think that's one of the best tips we've ever had. That kids listening need to get a donkey, need to get some chickens. You have an absolutely brilliant time. Yeah,
You'll never not have fun if you've got a couple of chickens and a donkey. They are just fun.
I want that slogan on a t-shirt. I think that's very true. Absolutely, never a wiser word said. Yeah,
They're a lot of fun.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you, Tim. Well, listen, the next question I've got to ask you, obviously, is a very important one. This is an audio podcast. It's for people to listen to with, I assume, their ears every week. I do point out if people want to listen to it with other parts of their body, that is fine.
Yes, their nose. Listen to it with your nose.
You can do that.
Put it in your nose.
It would be.
Put it in your. I bet the vibrations.
Hear it, yeah.
I bet they get vibrations in the nose, and they'd be like.
That might make you sort of snot on your phone or something, which would be quite disgusting. And then the podcast sound all gloopy. But I mean, I'm not saying don't try it. It's something new to try. You don't know it until you tried it, so you may as well try it.
The slimy, slucky, lucky, mucky, snotty, glutty, globby podcast with Taylor and Tim.
That's the new project that we're going to start once we finish.
Is that the slogan?
Yes, but we'll start a new one.
Listen.
That is particularly slimy noises. We'll fill your teapot with slime, and you can play that, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Isn't there that song as well where it goes, listen with your nose, and hear everything you smell. Is that the one?
I don't
can
know
smell
that
a
one.
rainbow, smell a rainbow. La, la, la. I'm not quite sure that's right, but it's something like that.
Yeah, smelling a rainbow would be quite incredible. I'd assume that each different bit smelt of something different. Each, the red bit smells of strawberries.
I always imagine rainbows taste different, and I reckon they must smell different as well.
Yeah.
I reckon you like. I always think you go like red and yellow, ooh, lovely, and pink and green or whatever it is, and then you go, ooh, lovely, and then you get to like purple.
Yeah, which
go,
is oh no, that's been sitting around for a while.
How have we done there? That's
blue.
Not good.
Oh, it's either very cold or just really gone off. Yeah,
it's gone.
Ugh.
And there'll be people like, oh, it hurts my teeth. Oh, I don't want the blue. It hurts my teeth.
Yeah, it's quite.
It's too cold.
If anything, it goes that.
If you do it from the out
to the in, you're really messy. Like if you started at the blue but you ended up at the red, you'd have a really nice time. So you'd have to really plan it Because if you started in the red
Yes.
and end up at the blue, you're ending on the worst.
Do you know what? You've come up with another top tip of what people can do. You could make a rainbow meal. So you could make like the first course could be like red, and then the second course could be yellow, and then I mean, you'd have to eat like lots of courses, but that would be really fun.
It would
That's
be really
such a
fun.
good
And I should
idea.
say that if you're going to go for purple or blue, try for like plums and blueberries rather than
Yeah.
say, I don't know, something that's really bruised and then some mold from the back of the fridge, because I think you'd be quite sick.
Ugh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be bad.
It would
Yeah,
be bad.
don't eat
Yeah.
mold unless it's the right kind of mold.
Exactly. That's another. There's so many good tips on this week's show. Thank you, Tim, for this. Well, yeah. What I was going to ask, as I said, people listen to this, they don't see it. So I just wonder if you got a favourite noise. Now, obviously, you played the kettle already for us, but I wonder if you had a favourite noise that you could either play for us, make for us, or just tell us about.
Favorite noise is the noise of freedom. Is
Is
that
it
a
like that?
noise?
Is that how it sounds?
How does freedom sound? I don't know. What's my favorite noise? I like the sound of water. I love the sound of like an oar going through the water. I like that sound very much. I love the sound of a bugle. That's always exciting.
Yes.
I love a bugle sound, as you know. I'm
You're very good at playing the
very
bugle,
much
yes.
love a bugle sound. I love also. I think that I've got a massive. One thing I've been doing during lockdown as well is I've got a massive copper basket that that I use to put logs in. It's a big log basket for the fire, and that makes a really big sound. So I quite like that one. I don't know
That's
if we
pretty
can,
good.
Can we do that?
Can you hit it? What do you do? Oh,
And I think if you were to play the
Yeah, oh, there
kettle
you go.
and do that at the same time, that would be quite like a little tune.
That's
You could
brilliant.
I don't know if you could. Maybe shall we try that?
Give it
Let's
a
see if we
go.
do it. I'm gonna try. It'll be like one of those one man. But I want. Can we do that?
He's got
No,
flute up his
that's
nose.
not good.
No,
I thought the flute up the nose might work, but that has. I mean, that's for the snotty.
That's for the save that for the other podcast. Yeah.
Okay, I'll save that.
Beautiful. That was quite a treat. Thank you very much. This is like a
You've
cross
got a-
between. It's a one-man band if they sort of lived in a junkyard. I think is that sort of.
It's like a one man band has been dropped down a lift shaft.
Yes.
And it's going, oh, and oh.
It's like if next time you go to the recycling centre, you decide to start up some sort of musical troupe.
Yeah, or maybe jazz flute. Like, have you ever heard jazz people trying to play jazz flute? Like on those
I always
records,
find it
and,
really
like,
stressful. Yeah, it always makes me go,
listen to those
ah,
records.
oh no, what's going
Ah!
on? Like I find my heart starts beating too fast, and it's all a bit. I can't cope with it because like, jazz is meant to be really cool and chilled, and then they start going,
That's right.
and it's like, oh no, oh what's going on? And I find it, I can't really cope. Have you ever found? I don't.
I
Even
love
find
jazz flute because it's like the jazz is like going ba-dum, ba, 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 ba-da-da-da-da. Then you get jazz flute coming in. Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
Well,
Da-da-da-da.
do you find? I don't know how influenced you are by music, but if I'm walking along with my headphones on and I'll put like shuffle on my phone or something on headphones, and I'll have like say if I have a really calm track, and it'll be like, oh,
Wait.
What?
Hang on. Whoa. Just give me a second. Does shuffle not mean you have to change the way you walk? I thought that was like, does that do something to the
Oh,
music?
have you been pressing a button on your phone then shuffling your bum?
Yeah.
Well, you can do that, but it depends on the music you're listening to. So you're not entirely wrong, but you don't have to shuffle when you hit shuffle. Shuffle is about shuffling the music, not your bum.
Oh man, this is the best tip so far.
Yeah, you'll get places a lot quicker now. I know you've been
And I
shuffling
won't have
for
to change my
miles.
trousers.
Well,
I
exactly.
won't have to change my trousers so often.
So
the
I'm
amount
glad
of
I could give
trousers I've
that to
worn
you.
out.
I mean, I made
That
the
is
same mistake
serious.
for years until someone told me. So it's important we get this message out there. But
Yeah.
see, what I was
So
going to
you
say
walking
is,
along.
yeah,
Yeah.
is that I'll have like, say if I have a really chill track and then I'll be walking really calmly, and then like some really fast music will come on, and suddenly I'm like, I've got to run everywhere, and like, or suddenly jazz flute, and then I'll just fall over, and I find that it immediately affects how I get places. You have to be very careful.
No, I'm sure. I think it does. I think it's true. Also, people say when you're running, if you're out running and you've got different music on, you apparently, without knowing it, you're running at different speeds
Yes.
when you get different
I've found
different
that.
music on.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, isn't it?
It is really crazy.
I really like having headphones because you can make your own jokes. Maybe the people listening want to try this. So what you can do is you can like be looking at something really, really calm, like a beautiful calm sea, and then you can just put in your headphones like music,
really angry
going,
music. Yeah. I like it if
or
I'm
you
in the
can-
car and I'm driving through a really quiet little village. I like playing the loudest, angriest music possible as I drive with my windows up. I'm not going to be horrible and boom the music out, but just to myself,
yeah.
I'm going, haha, this place is really angry, really. And it's not. It's really peaceful.
That's right. It's because you're like driving through, and the music should be so like da 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 da.
That's it.
And you're driving through, going. I'm
I'm going to smash things. I'll break your face. Ah! Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really good. Really good.
And the cows go mad.
That classic track. Classic track about
I like
the cows
that. That's a
going
great game you can play if you've got headphones. So yeah, play that game.
That is
guys.
a very good game. So many good games, Tim. This is brilliant. Well, look, listen, I've got a very important question to ask you in a minute, but the last question I have to ask you just for the sake of the podcast, you know, it's an important bit because this podcast is for everyone of all possible ages that you can ever imagine, from the smallest age to the biggest age and everything in between. And I just want to make sure that you know it's family friendly and that there are any rude words that you definitely won't be saying for the rest of this show.
For the rest of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good because I say badger poops a lot. I do say that a lot. And so I could try not to say it for the rest of the show.
Please
I
don't
will
say
definitely
badger
try
poops.
not to say badger poops
No.
at any point. We will not have badger poops going forward. We will not have it at any point.
Don't mention badger poops because I think as well as not only is it an offensive word, but also badger poops, I presume like badgers are black and white stripes and particularly just horrible for that reason. You don't really want pattern poo, but also
brilliant camouflage badgers when they're standing next to zebras.
Yes, so you could be standing next to a zebra, there'd be loads of badger poop everywhere, you wouldn't have a clue.
Badger's really good camouflage when they stand next to a zebra.
Yeah.
Can't see them.
No.
Yeah.
No, right, but please don't say badger poop. It is an awful
I won't say
word,
badger poop.
Thank you,
No more
Tim.
badger poops.
I really appreciate that.
No more badger poops.
No more badger poops. And I won't say badger poops either. I should just say I won't even say it once. Good. Right. Now, listen, this is important. But this is the reason I've got you here. And part of me feels like this ties in with...
We should also probably ban jazz flute for the rest of the
If you wouldn't mind, just for my own well-being, I think, because I don't think I can cope with it. I'm worried that I'll just fall over if you start going again. But jazz flute brings me to this the important question. The reason I've got you on this show, Tim, because I know this question is for you, and it comes all the way from Kino, who is aged 7. And Kino has asked, I know it's such a cool name as well, Kino. So thank you.
And 7. 7's a great age.
It's a good name, isn't it? It's a good age. Yes, it's a very good age. So 7.
Isn't Kino? Kino's a game as well. I think Kino's a game.
Is it?
I think you can play Kino.
Do you think a game has sent this in, or is it a child? It could be a 7-year-old game.
Maybe he's a child that likes playing games. Every child. Who doesn't like playing games?
That's very true. That is very true. I'm also worried. I don't want just assume it's a child when it could be that a board game has sent us in a question, and now I'm being really rude to the board game by thinking that they're a child, and actually they just a super intelligent board game.
Could be a really, really clever game that sent it in.
Well, it's just something to bear in mind. I don't want to insult. If you're a child, I'm sorry I've called you a board game. If you're a board game, I'm sorry I called you a child. Let's cover all bases.
Why are games bored? Games shouldn't be bored.
They're shoved in a box and then put on a shelf, and that gets really boring.
Exciting. It should be excited games.
They're exciting when they're taken out.
Name.
They're taken out and put on the floor, and all the pieces go everywhere, and then you play them. But then you shove them in a box and put them on a shelf, and they get all dusty and really bored. And what I'm saying is you should leave your board game out and about so it gets maximum life. Really.
I think it's rude to games to call them bored. I think you should call them exciting games.
Yes.
I think never again should they be called board games. They should be called exciting games or happy games. They should be called instead of board games. There's that makes them sound like they're really boring.
We should write a letter to someone. Yeah. Some are a bit boring. Though. Some
really?
are a bit boring. Yeah.
Really?
I'm trying to think of some that are a bit boring.
You can't. That's the reason. You can't. They're all fun. They're all great.
They are all fun. I was trying to think of I was trying to think of even the ones that look a bit more boring, like backgammon. But actually, that's really fun if you know how to play it. Yeah. All right. Okay. I've lost this one.
That's fun.
Front gammon's also good. Side gammon is really exciting. Often falls over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Gammon.
Yeah. Gammon.
That's all fun.
Really fun. That's just.
There's a really cool game actually that you can play literally anywhere. is you just get some stones, right? If you get some stones and you pile the stones up in a little tower,
Yeah.
and then you draw a circle around the stones,
And then you
and
conjure up a wizard. No,
yeah,
sorry, right,
and then
sorry.
and then you can just flick the stones.
Oh yeah,
flick another stone at the pile of stones and see who can knock it over quickest. You just don't need anything to make up a game.
It's just
do you know what I mean?
So much. There's no reason to be bored.
That is a Viking game.
Vikings.
That's proper Viking fun.
Brilliant
Viking
games.
game. Hello, come to Viking game.
I love the idea that we all think Vikings were like, let's smash things and set fire to things. It's like, no, we would balance stones on top of each other and then we would flick them into a circle. That's yeah.
And maybe Sven will use a stick. He's such a maverick.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But yeah, who knows?
Right.
He's so crazy, Sven. He plays the stone game, but with a stick. It's so crazy.
It's a much nicer way to have an idea of Vikings. Right, let's get on a ship and let us stack some stones. Right, Tim.
I think Vikings are amazing. I think we should all just keep looking at Vikings and Anglo-Saxon people and look at the crazy games that they made up and all the fun that they had. I think we should all go and do that.
I always like that their kids. And their surname is the name of their parent with son or dottir afterwards. Because then I really like that my daughter, then her surname would be Tin and Dottir. And I really like that.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's like, haha, you have to carry my name everywhere. That'd be...
Well, then you end up with like double names, like Magnusson.
Yes.
Because he's the son of Magnusson.
But he's also Magnus,
Exactly.
And then then his son is going to be Magnus Magnusson.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if that's how it works, but I like it.
I don't know how it works either, but I just love the idea of it.
It's very
and I like the idea of their place names as well. I've been thinking about this a lot because anywhere in Britain or the world that has the letters BY at the end of it. So you can all think of places that have the letters Grimsby. And what Grimsby means is Grimm's town. So it's like it's the town owned by Grimm. So Whitby would be quite a fun place. You go to Whitby and you'd be like, hey, Whitby's fun. Whitby's like this. It's like the town of wit. It's like the funny guys live in Whitby. Yeah. They're funny guys and they do funny Viking stuff. That'd be where Crazy Sven would live. Whereas Grimsby, you'd be like going, uh-oh, this is where Grimm lives. I don't want to be huge here.
Axe. Yeah.
Grimm is a big scary man. And he'd be like, welcome to my town. And you'd be like, ah!
That is very useful to know, and now we know exactly which towns to avoid, just in case they're owned by terrifying Grimm. Thank you for that, Tim. Well, listen, I feel like we've gone off on a slight tangent. I just because I know we've got this question that I have to ask you. This is the reason. This is the reason for this show. So Keno, the aforementioned Keno, age 7, he asked, and I think this is perfect for you, Tim, especially after everything we've already discussed. Why do they always play music in shops, and why is it always terrible music? Why, Tim?
Wow, that's a good. Why do they always play music in shops? I think it's because they want the shops to dance. I think that's why they play music in shops. So maybe they're trying to get the shop to do some funky dancing.
The shop itself, not the people in the shop, or
the shop itself. Yeah,
right.
The actual shop. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Is that why in some shops there are clothes on the floor and there are things that fall off because the shops dance too hard?
Yeah, I think that's probably it. I think that might be it. And why is it always terrible music? I mean, I don't know. I think maybe it's because they employed the jazz flute guy to write the music for them, is that what happened? I don't. Can you
imagine if you went into a shop to buy some things and jazz flute started? Like, imagine I was trying to think like maybe like a sort of a B&Q or somewhere that's got lots of DIY things, and suddenly jazz flute starts playing. It'd be such a terrifying experience. Like, I'm just going to buy a hammer. I don't know what to buy. Oh no, they've got nails in my head. I've fallen into a plant.
Do you think if they wrote really good music for shops, people just wouldn't ever shop? Because they kind of go into the shop and they just stand there going, wow, man, this is like the best music I've ever heard. I'm just zoning out to the music. And the shopkeeper would be like, buy something.
Yes.
Buy something in my shop. Will you please buy something? This is not a concert hall. This is a shop. I want to sell you some chicken food. Buy the chicken food. Stop zoning out to the music. This is not good enough.
That is maybe that's why. If people turned up to shops just to have a dance, that would make the shops really annoyed, especially after the past year. Shops need people to go in and buy stuff, and if you just turned up and had a lovely waltz or a bit of a boogie or a shuffle or whatever, then the shopkeepers just be like, get some crisps and go away.
Yeah, maybe the shopkeeper started off like playing good music. When he first came up with the idea, he was like, I will play music in my shop and it'll be wonderful and lovely and it'll be so cool. And then his profits went down because he'd never sold anything. And he was like, I will show them. I will play terrible music. Maybe it all started by a Viking. Maybe it was Grimm who came up with the idea in Grimsby. And he was like, I will be playing music in my shops. Start playing, Crazy Sven. And Crazy Sven's in the corner, like playing, going doopy doo, doo doo doo, doo 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 doo, with these like wonderful Viking jazz. We don't really know what Viking jazz is, but I'm sure it was great. Do 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 do, and then no one was buying anything. And then Grimsby just went. Grim just went. Sven, now we will play my music. And then he just picks up Sven and goes, I will be hitting Sven. That is the music we've got.
That's how I imagine Viking music.
I will be hitting Sven. Buy everything in my shop.
And then people would have to run in. They'd run in. They'd be so scared they'd buy something and leave.
Yeah, very quickly, just buy everything to stop him from like Sven. Sven would be going, stop hitting me! I'll buy everything. I'll buy everything in the shop. Please stop it. Stop it.
It makes a lot of sense because I think that's got to work. If the music in a shop is terrible, but you really need to get something, you will just get it and then leave, and it's definitely a much better sales tactic, isn't it?
Yeah, because then they're not in the shop very long because they they come in and they go, quick, buy something and leave, quick, before he changes the tune.
Yeah.
Because then he'd like go, I finished with Sven. Come here, Hildebrand. Now I'm going to whack Hildebrand. And everyone would be going, stop it, stop whacking people, Grim. This is not fair.
What do you think that the worst music they could play in a shop would be? And what sort of shop?
What, in Grim's shop?
Oh, just in any shop. In any shop, in a shop that you go to. Like, say if you're going to the supermarket, what would be the worst music they could play as you went into the supermarket?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be like, is it? It's so close to being like scat singing, but I'm not quite there. It would be skating music in the fish aisle. It would be something like that. There's definitely like cod jazz in the fish aisle. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of music like that knocking about. I think probably
it would be just terrible. Yeah, I always think like now, and apologies if any listeners really enjoy this, but one of the musics I can't really deal with is the one where it's like the really like heavy metal music where people just scream. I can't deal with it when it's just ah. And I think if I went into the shop and as soon as I walked in, it was just ah, I wouldn't be able to shop. I'd have to.
But
go.
I quite like that because I can make up the lyrics in my head. So, like, do you know what I mean? Because I don't know what they're saying because they're shouting so loudly.
Sure.
And I'm going, hey, they must be saying this, and in my head it's really funny, and I start laughing. And so for me, I'd walk into the shops and it'd be going, and I'd be going, wow, I must get broccoli, I must get carrots. He's singing about some fish. It's all okay. Everything's fine. As long as I don't get any badger poops. No!
No, Tim. Sorry, I'll edit that out.
Okay. Yeah. It's all okay.
You see, I like if I went into a shop and they were singing my shopping list in that style, I would love it. If it was buy some cheese and some yogurt, like that would be, I would love that because also it'd be a good reminder to me because I think, what is this music? Oh, actually, that's great. I'd forgotten about peanut butter.
Yeah, that's right.
That'd be brilliant.
I think it'd be good. I'd love to go to the supermarket and be surrounded by minstrels. I think that'd be good. Like doing lovely. Proper medieval music. They'd be going like, don't forget the broccoli, don't forget the broccoli. And they'd be skipping around and they'd be like, please remember the tinned prunes.
I've always wanted you to have your own bard. Anyway, I always think if anyone should have your own bard, it should be you. And I would like someone to follow you around the supermarket going, Tim, he's gone to the tins. He's going to buy other things. And now he's going to buy some soap. La 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 la. And I would like them to follow you around with one of those sort of little... What are they called? They're not like harps. They're the little ones. Like a
lute.
A lute.
A lute.
Yeah. Which isn't at all like a harp, is it? But yeah, it would be the lute, and then they'd just play everything that you're doing, and just sort of sing about. It'd be a bit like being in a musical, I suppose, where they just sing about life all the time.
Yeah, he arrived in the aisle with a lovely big smile and all that sort of stuff. I think it'd be lovely. It
would be really good.
You could see him from a mile. It would be great. I'd love that. That's what happens in my head all the time. I think it'd be brilliant.
Would you
Let's get 'em
consider
in.
opening up that job? I wonder if anybody is listening, any of the children listening would like to apply for that job. Would you
Yes.
be keen to hire for that position of
Yes.
being your personal bard?
Yes, I would. Yes, I very much would. Yes. Yes, I'd like. I think people should write songs about the bravery of supermarket shopping, and I think that's where we should start.
Hmm.
And then perhaps we can write about making tree houses and flying kites, and then donkey parking tickets. So they can write
Yes.
all of these things into ballad songs, and that's a very good place to start.
It's a
Yes, I think that's a
never-ending well of
brilliant idea.
inspiration, this, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. If you, for any keen songwriters, I couldn't
In
think of anywhere
fact,
better to
actually,
look.
let's turn this podcast into a big job advertisement, and try and get people to get involved in that. Anyone listening, I have a vacancy for a personal musician to write songs about my day-to-day life, and so I think anyone that would like to apply for that job, Tin and I would love to hear from
Should
you.
I just check? They only need to write the songs. They don't need to follow you around at the supermarket dressed as a bard, because obviously they might have to go to school and stuff, and it could be tricky depending on times. But
Yeah.
just checking that is
Yeah.
you're not requiring the full bard thing, just the songs themselves.
I mean, I think there's definitely levels here, isn't there? I mean, if people want to apply for the Saturday job of actually dressing up like a bard, as a bard, and physically walking around with the lute, doing the bring 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 bring, and I think we should also advertise for a jazz flautist, a jazz flute player,
Yes.
just to follow the bard round as well. So they'd sort of go around together, and then the bard would be like going la 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 bring 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 ding ding ding, and then the flute player would be behind them going woo.
That'd be good for
So
when
I
you
think
get to like crowded areas and you need people to disperse or something, and the jazz flautist can
yes,
just
yes,
disperse them very quickly.
yes,
Yeah.
and then we could open a shop and put them in the shop, and they could stand in the corner playing their music. And then Grim would be in the corner going, Sven, you crazy man, you crazy, crazy man. Look at Sven's head. Look at Sven's head. It's very, very flat.
And then also we'd automatically be fixing Kino's question by having a shop that had some of the best music in the world in it, and
Definitely
changing the trend forevermore. I mean, Tim, this is so. I think some amazing plans have been made on this show.
I think we should also. I think we should call the band, as we've now got them together. We should call the band Kino.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Kino 7.
Kino 7. That's the coolest name. They would win all of the awards, 100%.
Yeah, they would. Brilliant. They definitely would. Be like, and now the award for the best band with a Viking hitting another Viking on lead vocals. It goes to Kino 7. Yeah.
Yes. With another hit, Sven, I've bashed your head in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy Sven is hit again.
Yes.
Oh, their hit single. Not me. Don't hit me, please.
Literal hit single. Beautiful. Oh, well, thank you, Tim. I don't think Kino could have asked for a better answer than that, and hopefully that's solved.
I don't think he could have asked for a different answer today.
That's very true. That is very true. Well, thank you for having the time to answer it, Tim. And have you got an exciting rest of the day planned? Chickens or
I do.
PopJam?
I do. Yeah, I've got some very exciting plans for the rest of the day. I'm going to go and chat to the chickens for a bit and see if they've got any letters they need me to post, and so that will be very wonderful. And then I've got to go. I might go for a bicycle ride. That's always a good thing to do. Get a bicycle out and go for a bicycle ride, and might do that. And then I've got to check some flowers because I want them to stay alive. So I'm trying to keep my flowers alive. It's not going very well. And then I'm growing some grass, so I need to check how much that's grown, like how high, because I want it to grow really high, so it can be like a massive jungly outside grass area. But
That's
it's
brilliant.
not there yet.
And then you can release the chickens into it, and they can have serious jungle adventures.
Well, that's the thought, because then they'd be like dinosaurs.
Yes. Brilliant. Well, Tim, thank you, and have brilliant time with jungle creation and chicken.
I mean,
chat.
I've got horses to talk to, and I've got swimming to check up on. So I've got a lot of that to do as well.
Very
so
busy.
it's a busy day,
busy man. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat to us today. And
it's lovely to see you.
Yeah,
lovely to talk to you. How nice.
How nice. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Big thanks to Tim Fitzhigham for those tips and, of course, the brilliant answer to Kino's question. And, Kino, I do hope you and your Viking-based band are very happy with that. Right, now...
Yes, sadly, the Comedy Club for Squid said I was driving their audience away, which isn't true because they were swimming and there wasn't a car in sight. Anyway, I'm now going to paddle all the way back home in my very wet trousers. In the meantime, if you have a question you want answered in this show, a joke that you want us to tell, or perhaps some beautiful squid-based poetry such as calamar I, calamar you, calamar we, calamar everybody who likes to swim in the deep, deep blue, that sort of thing, then you can send all of that in by getting your adult dicker podiforms, grown-ups, to help you. Email us at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Also, if those same grown-ups want to buy us a seawater to say thank you for making you laugh until you do a snot bubble, then they can do that at Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Comedy Club for Kids, or via the Acast supporter button. And don't forget to come and see us at one of our live shows too, where you can find all details for those at comedyclubforkids.co.uk. Right, instead of saying bye this week, I'm just going to wave. You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.